So the next part that we're going to be working on or looking at is going to be the ACA video for this year. This is one of the final draft. We have the English version that we're going to be sharing here. And so in the evaluation, there's a section that you could give us your feedback on what you thought about the video. But we're also open after the video. If you have any comments, you're welcome to share it. But we do have an option or a comment section in the evaluation at the end of the day. And then I will go run through the timeline, let you know everybody has a manual. I will run through the PowerPoint, similar to last year. And it'll go pretty quickly because I'm just going to hit what's in your manual. And so you could take it back to your parish. If there's any questions during the time, please let me know. And then I will share some highlights from 2015 as of August, because we haven't ended or closed the reports. It goes all the way to October 31st. So I'll share the information as of August 31st. And so there will be a PowerPoint that I'll show in regards to that. And then some highlights that we have from one of the parishes here in Yakima. And we'll share that information. And as soon as I'm done, we'll have Bishop Tyson. And then hopefully by noon, the food will be here, and possibly we could have an early lunch.
Excuse me. The bishop said this morning that the motto for this whole year is working the Lord's Vineyard across Central Washington. The poster says, working the Lord's Vineyard Sunday to Sunday.
Yes.
Which is the official one?
The official one is what's on the agenda. We use Sunday to Sunday because one of our forms that we have here, so you could see, is an info sheet that has Sunday to Sunday, so people have an understanding of what we're doing in the parish from Sunday to Sunday. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? No? Okay, so I'll go ahead and start with the video. If you need handouts, they're right up front on the table, or just raise up your hand and Denny and I could provide it for you. Mm-hmm.
The Diocese of Yakima consists of 41 parishes throughout 7 counties in central Washington. Your annual Catholic appeal gift is vital to the operation of many programs within the parishes. Direct distributions are made to support vocations, catechesis, lay formation and evangelization, Catholic schools, family, youth, and young adult ministries, and general parish needs. The ACA ensures that there will be priests and deacons to sustain and nurture the sacramental life of our parishes.
We are very thankful to the campaign for the ACA here in the diocese since for many, many years. Now we are able to offer the diocesan program for the diaconate. Currently, we have over 40 already ordained deacons here. But we have a new class going, and we have at this moment about 20 applicants for the new class. We are hoping to have 2 classes, one in English, one in Spanish, and so we are very thankful to the ACA because they are, for the first time, helped us with an initial budget. We thank all the parishes precisely for their support to the ACA campaign. Because it's really helping us strengthening our foundations throughout the diocese, especially reactivating this ministry of permanent diaconate.
Supporting the ACA makes it possible for the diocese to prepare leaders at the parish level who teach over 6,681 students each year and who last year brought over 4,360 men and women into full initiation with the Catholic faith. This daily pursuit of holiness occurs as a result of religious education, Magnificat formation program, Sisters Exchange, Migrant Ministry, Central Washington Catholic Newsletter, and the Church Mission Congress.
I'm Father Jaime Chacon. I'm Director of Hispanic Ministry and Vicar of the Faith Education. We provide programs and faith formation for the leaders of the different moments of the church. Also, we support the parishes in all the Hispanic ministry, develop of pastoral leadership, and also growing of the spiritual life. Thanks to the people that support the annual Catholic Appeal, our programs in our diocese are addressed to many people in our parishes, giving them opportunity to grow in faith and knowledge of the faith, and then become very active leaders in each parish to spread the good news to the people in the Catholic faith.
In what you return to the Lord through the ACA, you make possible for 1,836 students a broad range of services and resources which ensure that our Catholic schools are better able to meet the challenges before them. Educational programs also include professional development for educators, monthly principal formation program, annual October Teacher Excellence Day, and accreditation support.
We're able to bring Christ into all that we do. The infusion of faith into curriculum, into the student life, into all that they do within their day is amazing.
Due to generosity of donors like you, an expansive array of ministry programs are made available from Sunday to Sunday for families at all stages of life, in the parishes and on a diocesan level, including youth ministry, campus ministry in Central Washington University, gang ministry, cornerstone ministry, marriage preparation programs, and baptismal preparation training. Contributions can be made in person at your parish using the pledge card or online through the diocese website. Please visit www.yakimaddiocese.org and follow the links to the donations page. All funds collected in excess of your parish goal are returned in the form of a parish rebate to your parish for use in your local ministries and programs. On behalf of the Most Reverend Bishop Tyson, thank you for your continued support through the annual Catholic Appeals.
Okay, any thoughts on the video that you would like to share? Anyone?
Very good.
So I know this is our first year. This year our focus was to educate parishioners. Next year we already have our theme, which is giving gratitude in Central Washington. So our video will be more focused on saying thank you to folks. But this year we wanted to educate folks on where the contribution is going. And one of the items that we have that you could pick up here a little bit later, we have samples of the material.
Do you have the videos in Spanish?
Yes, we're going to have that. This was we wanted to share the English one before. It's going to be similar, but the voiceover will be by David. That they will have. And if I need to speak louder, just let me know. I could do that.
I think the thing I would say is the theme for next year, you'll be able to use this video every year with your parish leadership, because they're saying, what does the ACA go for? So in a certain sense, even though your folks will see it this year, we're going to keep that around. You can still use it. The next year, the reason it's a 2-year plan is Mike and we're going around to parishes just having groups saying thank you from across the diocese, and it's taking us a year to film that. So the flip side of it is you might be getting a phone call from us to say what's the parish event that we can be at, and we'll just kind of organize people and they'll say thank you. So like we did that in terms of some of them. I think we did a couple of those already with Mike in terms of a couple of our locations in our ministry. So that's why the next year that it's going to be gratitude, but people in the video we'll see these different groups of folks, like the Magnificat. We have about 300 catechists in Magnificat, so they'll be in a group saying thank you. We'll have a whole group of folks in Hispanic leadership saying thank you. We'll probably get the students at Central Washington University to say thank you, right, Marcus? So that's kind of where we're headed. That's why it's a 2-year plan. Yeah.
So maybe I missed it, but are we going to get this video that we could show to our parish?
Yes, this year, in English and Spanish, every parish will have the video. Yes. And you can pop that in, not just, like at announcement time on Sunday morning, but I'm really hoping you'll use this with your financial parish leadership, because they're like, well, what does the bishop do all day? Well, I just sit and watch the telenovelas, that's all I do. I mean, they get a sense of what the diocesan ministry is about. Yeah, you be quiet. I know what I can read your cartoon bubble. Isn't that what you do all day?
When you say pop it in, Does that mean if we have a laptop that connects to a wireless projector, then we can put it in?
Yes, there'll be parishes are in different levels in technology. Some of them do have the screen so they could see the video. There might be parishes where you're going to just be able to hear the audio. There's parishes that you could will in, the white projector and that. But if your parish doesn't have it, if we know ahead of time, I'm pretty sure we could make it available to take it to the parish. We have the items here. We would just need advance notice for that to make sure it doesn't conflict with that. Mm-hmm. Yes? Anybody questions? No. Okay. So one of the items that we do have are samples of the envelopes, and the video is closely aligned, and you will see in the presentation that I will give, I indicate where would be the best to show the video, which is during the education week, but it's also most probably where it work best would be on the pledge weekend. People could see where the contribution is going, and then you could walk them through filling out the pledge card. And so the pledges this year, except for one parish, the information is in English and Spanish inside, so bilingual, just similar to previous year. And then it has a flyer, which the video is quite connected to the flyer. It walks them through in English and in Spanish. So that's where I thought it would be best to show the video with the pledge weekend. But it doesn't mean that you could, there's parishioners that don't always come, so you might want to show it twice or make it available.
Take home today too?
Just samples, yes, for each parish. And then as regular, they'll be sent to your parish, but you could take these as samples, so you could take a look at them. So what I'll do next, I'll go through the manual. I'll go through it pretty quickly, but if there's any questions, let me know. There's not, and I'll highlight if there's changes. But this year there wasn't, big changes other than we incorporated a video to go with it as well, and the reporting pretty much stayed the same. But I'll just share some basic information here. So the first PowerPoint that will go, it would be the one that's colored in blue. And that's going to be aligned with your manual as well, which we'll walk you through. And as I mentioned, it's pretty much everything that you will see in the manual, so I'll just move along pretty quickly. And if I need to raise my voice, just raise up your hand. Just let me know, because I tend to go lower. So as I mentioned, the theme for this year is working the Lord's Vineyard across Central Washington. And as Monsignor Ecker mentioned, the poster doesn't, it's not exactly what it says here, but in all of our other information, it will have it. The reason we went from Sunday to Sunday, it aligns closely with our informational sheet as well. And then also with the poster, sometimes the wording, you have to condense it. We only have, for design purposes, it fit best to put Sunday to Sunday as well. Okay, so you all have the new ACA manual, which we'll go through you could see the table of contents, so you could easily find the information. We'll also, similar to last year, we'll make everything electronically, and you could have it available, so you could print it, share it with individuals, but we like to give you a hard copy so you could take back. And normally we suggest to have 2 manuals in your office, one for the pastor and one in front of the office as well. Sometimes there's different individuals that take care of different items for the ACA, so it's important to have 2 manuals at hand. So in general, what we have is the letters from the bishop, just in general to everyone there. You could see the parish action timeline, so you could see the timeline for this year. So those dates are updated, and it's an important one to probably copy and put somewhere that's visual so you could see what's coming up when it's coming up as well. And one of the important parts is a checkoff list, so you could check it off as you go through each week, things that you should be working on moving forward. And sometimes, for example, you want to have a late witness talk early on, somebody that's assigned to that role. And so normally we ask that you start looking and identifying that person early on instead of the day of or the week before, just to give the person preparation. And also as I mentioned, in the afternoon, you'll have an opportunity to develop a sample witness talk that you could share with that person, or you could share the tips that you learn here with that individual as well. And so there's the roles that normally are general. The pastor has certain roles. One of the key points here is just making sure in regards to when it's the in pledge or in pew ask, we just ask that the video is shown and you walk the parishioners the day of to fill out the forms. That's the best way to do it. And it works the best, and you will get more participation that way. And again, the focus is to allow them to ask them to have 100% participation, have everyone participate. Not necessarily you'll have 100% participation, but that's our focus. Our focus is on participation, which on the results, I'll share a little bit more how that participation went down this year, and why we want to focus on the participation and not necessarily the money. With more participation, the money will come. And then there's a parish bulletin letter that is drafted as a sample. I know that there's pastors that develop their own letter, which is quite fine. We could do that. You could tailor it as you wish, and we'll make it available electronically in Word, and it's both in English and in Spanish. And so you could easily modify it if needed. And so we ask that you put that during the 24th and 25th in the bulletin. And then the role of the chairperson or the AC volunteer, or that person that is going to be assigned to look at the deadlines, the dates, and make it aware to the pastor or to those that do the bulletin. It's kind of the go-to person on when dates are coming, so they're aware of it. And solicitation, as I mentioned before, there's a letter that goes out early in October from the bishop to everyone that has participated previously. And then the solicitation through the faithful prayers, through the bulletin announcement and pulpit announcements. And in your manual and also electronically, all you would have to do is copy and paste it to that particular document. That way, during those weekends, they're being read and heard from the pulpit. Up to now, is there any questions?
I have a question. Sometimes I want to try to do for them to fill the form in the pew, but because I think the mail from the ACA director is sent before, many times they don't want to fill it out with me because they said I already filled it out. And I'm thinking that it would be a great idea, and probably the difference is here, that we do it first and then you send it later, in order for us to do it with every single person. And nobody will tell us, Father, you know what, actually I fill it out already in my home. So we fill it out with them, and whoever participated last year, then we will see who hasn't turned it in, so you can send a letter to them.
Sometimes it is an excuse that they use not to give, because they said, we have received that.
Yeah, and at times it could be, both, because I know that sometimes they say that they receive it, and so they get confused, and then at times they'll fill it out again because they can't necessarily remember if they filled it in pew or not. One of the things that we encourage for the in-pledge pew, something that I know it's not necessarily incorporated in here, but something that we could do where they could still fill it out, but just say that they already sent it in or some type of information. But if not, one of the reasons we ask them to fill it out is that constantly addresses are changing, phone numbers, emails. So this is our way to keep our system up to date. because at times there's deceased in certain items, but we won't know that information unless they tell us or the parish tells us about that information. So this is kind of our check and balances to make sure our system, our database is up to date as well. But both are great suggestions. Any other questions on there? No. Okay, so the automatic mail follow-up system that we have. So we normally, as I mentioned, we send out the letter, and then in February we send out a second follow-up letter, which just indicates anyone that hasn't given by January will get a letter. And so something that we did new this year from previous years, we went through our donor base, and if they gave in the last 3 years, that's who got the second letter. So everybody in October, everyone in our system, which is about over 20,000, gets a letter from the bishop. And then in February, that number, instead of sending it to everyone, we just send it to those that gave in the last 3 years. So it's about $3,000. So it reduces our cost in regards to that.
You got to be very careful. You don't send it to deceased people. Sometimes for reason you don't get it, and families get very upset when these letters go out. People have already died, and that happened in our parish.
But I think it's the pastor or the secretary should call you and tell you, this person died already.
We keep the list up to date.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's our responsibility as pastors is to keep you up to date.
Yeah, and so one of the items that we are working on currently right now, we're in the process of cleaning our database. Currently, that's what we're doing to make sure we have an accurate reporting system, because we work closely with Catholic Charities as well. So that's how we if they know of something, they share it with us, and vice versa. We always try to keep everything up to date, but it is very helpful for parishes to give us monthly, weekly. Some parishes, send us something on a weekly basis. Sometimes we don't find out until after it's sent out to them as well.
And when you get those kind of questions, it's good to explain that to the parishioner. Well, you might not be moving around, but we have snowbirds in the parish, and there are people that have 2 addresses, and we really use this in our local parish as well. Hopefully you are. That you're looking at those, and is this the same address that I've got on my parish records? Because it is that check, and it is really hard to keep our databases clean and accurate. So I think when those questions come up from parishioners, why do I keep filling this out? Well, because we're trying to do a good job of keeping our, and you might be a pretty stable person, not moving around, but that's not the case with everybody in the parish. We got a lot of movement going on. New emails. People get hacked and they switch their emails. They get new cell phones. They get new phone. There's a lot that moves on those databases. But just explain that to people so they don't think we're just like wasting their time or wasting money on these cards. This is kind of the only thing we've got going for us. Yeah.
And one of the other 2 items that you will see here is a parish donor list and the parish report. So these are the 2 reports. So the earlier group in the morning stepped out with Denny, and I know this may be your first time meeting Denny. Previously to Denny, it was Sandra that was working there as an ACA bookkeeper. Now it's Denny Canales, so he's more than happy that could answer your questions. There wasn't changes drastically on the report other than dates for this new year. But if you have any questions, it will be to Denny. We're going to be working in the same process that we were working before with the same reports. I know some of people suggested that sometimes it's tedious work to alphabetize the pledge cards, the hard copies to the spreadsheet, and we understand that, but we get thousands and thousands of pledge cards, and that just makes our job easier, because normally during the month of November, December, and early January, we do get a full-time temp to help. This year, God willing, it will be Sandra that will be assisting us, so make the process quicker because someone that already knows the process. But it's just this is a kind of a step that we need to go through in order to facilitate all the pledges that we receive all at once in November. Is there any questions on the reporting or anything that would be beneficial for you to share? I know we had the ACA survey, but not everybody participated. but if there's something that could facilitate it. But I know that that was something that was mentioned last year, that it seemed kind of repetitive, kind of tedious, but I just wanted to share that. That's kind of what makes our process a little bit easier once we get them at our end. And the dates, so the week of October 5th, the MPU material will be mailed directly to the parish, just like previously. And as I mentioned, you could pick up the samples of what they will look like here up front, here when we're done for lunch. And also the posters are here, so you could pick up the posters and take them to your parish. The video as well will be completed and finished, and that will be sent to the parish, so you will have that in time before these dates come up here. And then everything will be up electronically after so early next week, we should have everything electronically that we're seeing here. And as you can see, we're also recording the training, so anyone that wasn't able to attend, but we were happy to share with those that did attend, if you wanted to share with your parish council or just kind of run by certain things, maybe if you had a question throughout the year. So the announcement weekend is going to be October 17th and 18th. So we would want the posters up before that. And then there's also prayers of the faithful that could be included, and in the bulletin and pulpit announcements as well. And then education weekend is how we're going to be educating parishioners on how and what the money is being used for in different ways. The key part would be the late witness talk, which Maureen Mold will touch base on those kind of special techniques and best practices as well.
Participants in Magnificat. So you want to think about, maybe there's somebody in your parish who's been part of Magnificat, who has gone through deacon formation, who has, maybe been a student at Eastern, or we really want campus ministries because it's, in a certain sense, we're all supporting our students. We've launching the day ministry again in Moses Lake, and it's getting started. Part of that's a grant, part of that's supported from here. That you might think about who you've got locally. They might just have a snapshot that at least is a face that says there's somebody that's really being touched by our services.
Okay. So on November 7th and 8th will be the pledge weekend. And so as you can see in red is where we encourage to have the ACA video shown and walk through the in-pew filling out the pledge card as well. And then the first report to Denny, we're expecting it so you could have it by November 12th. Or as long as you give us a call, sometimes depending on parish and different activities, those deadlines cannot be met. But just feel free to give us a call and just let us know where the report is coming along. Because normally if we don't see a report, we'll follow up with the parish on those. And it's mostly important in the month of December because any donation that was made before the 31st, we would need to know in order to include it for the end of the year tax letters that we do. So that's when it's mostly crucial because we are the ones that develop those letters. So, December 31st. Mm-hmm. So normally you will get more calls because people are expecting it on their tax return letters, and we just need those reports in our office in order to process them.
So you're issuing tax receipt letters for the funds received at the parish level or just at the diocese level?
Diocese level through ACA.
Okay, so if I send you, I have 6 parishioners that donate, I'm having it on my database, their initial contribution, right? Mm-hmm. And you're not doubling that when you send out your ACA letter? Or are you reporting all ACA donations on your letter?
Yeah, we're reporting all ACA donations.
So I'm not sending out tax receipts for anybody over 250 that write the check to St. John the Baptist. The diocese is sending out
yes,
the letter.
Yeah. If it's specifically to the ACA and it's on the report, that's something the diocese takes care of.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And I shouldn't be entering it in my parish data system at all?
No.
donation tracking?
No, because we have that information, and if you ever need it for any purpose, we can give you that detail. Because there's people that give online, people that mail it that you don't necessarily have. So that's one of the reasons that last year we took off a section where it's totaling up, because it wasn't adding up correctly, and so it's adding more confusion. And some parishes are still using it, but it was adding confusion to majority of the parishes, so we took that out. But if you ever want the total amount, it's on the monthly reports that are put electronically and through the weekly mailing, or you could just give us a call and we could give you those figures.
Yeah, but it's also confusing to parishioners if they write the check to St. John the Baptist or the ACA, and it doesn't show up on their financial statement from St. John the Baptist at the end of the year. The letter's coming from you. I have gotten calls on that.
Okay.
That is screwed up. So that's why I'm asking you. So we're going to tell our parishioners it's not in their financial statement that documentation should come from the diocese.
Exactly. And it's specifically for ACA donation.
Right. But the check has been written to St. John the Baptist, and that's the confusion, is it's written to the parish, but the documentation is coming from the diocese.
Yes, that's correct. And then on November 14 and 15, there's the first follow-up after the pledge, because as you know, parishioners don't come sometimes, so we want to give an opportunity. So we have 2 follow-up weekends. The first one is November 14 and 15, and then the second one is November 21st and 22nd. And this is what I mentioned in late February in 2016. The follow-up letter is sent to all those that have not made a pledge by the 31st of the 2016. Okay? And this information is, you can see it's all on the checkoff list, which is items that we discussed to help facilitate that. For Education Weekend, you want to identify the person that will do the witness talk. As Bishop mentioned, maybe you want to work with somebody that is in the Magnifica program or your religious education program, some ministry. They will be perfect candidates to talk about their ministry and how they're being impacted. And so you want someone from your parish, someone that's cheerful, happy, someone that's willing to give a witness talk and is comfortable giving a witness talk as well. And so this is one of the reasons that we did the training. Sometimes the individuals that are doing the witness talks are not available to attend this training. So you could pop in the training in regards to the afternoon session with Maureen Mold that could probably give them some tips to enhance their talk for that weekend. And then you would share all the videos at all the masses, preferably, and so forth. And one of the items is to just let folks know that they could donate online if that's what they would like to do. That's an option that we have. And as I mentioned, all the materials will be electronically available through our website. Everything that you're seeing here.
When you, unless I overlooked it, when do you actually mail the envelopes that go directly to the parishioners?
Normally, we sent them out the week of October 17, before that. So they're getting it before the pledge weekend. So that by Education Weekend, some of them already had received the letter and understand it. So normally that's what we do. It's mid-October.
But you say we can get envelopes to put in the pews too, though.
Oh, yes.
Before that.
Yeah, the week of October 5th is when you will get the in-pew envelopes. Any questions? No? Okay. So the next presentation, I would just go for your purpose of the results for the 2015. And again, just a reminder, this data is from August 31st because our ACA 2015 has not ended. So I just wanted to reemphasize that. So this is the information on how many parishes have met their ACA goal. And again, the reminder that the ACA goal is 16% of the annual Sunday collections for the parish. So if your Sunday collections go up, 1 year, that's the reason why your goal would increase. And so it's 16% of that, of the previous year. Okay?
16 or 15?
16, 1-6. And so one of the items, last year was one of the most successful years for the ACA. And this year we did see a fall, and we have, communicated with Bishop and the priest councils and our finance council about participation, which there's a slide later on that indicates and shows numbers for that. So currently the numbers on top indicate that in 2014 there was 29 parishes in August of last year that met their goal. This year there was 20, so far there's 22 parishes that have met their goal, which is lower than 2013. So I just wanted to, for us to just look at that. And one of the items too that we have currently, Bishop mentioned Michael Murphy, and in one of the webinars is said to have an Sunday Visit consultant. He's not from Sunday Visitors, but he is a consultant to help us enhance the participation in ACA. So that's somebody that's working with us. So he's going to be coming down in October, so we might be visiting some of these parishes that haven't met their goal to see how we could increase participation, and he will be involved again with us this year. So we are looking at how we could improve the ACA and help you.
I have a question to ask you. When you're analyzing your donations, and you're telling me you have a drop here, are you looking at the donations and the individuals, and are you seeing an actual drop in the number of participants, or are you seeing a drop in the amount that those that participated last year, year before, if their actual donation decreased? You see what I mean? Was there just basically the same number of people, but maybe the donation dropped?
And it's more of the participation from looking at the trend, and there will be slides later on that you will see the income coming in. The shortfall is not as drastic, but when you see the participation, it's very large. So it's more on participation than what's. But because of participation, it is bringing down the donation.
See, in looking at ours, I see some that actually decrease their donation, and maybe are people that donate all the time. And so I'm thinking, well, maybe their financial situation changed. There are other factors.
Yes, there is. And according to the results that you will see here, the focus is that the participation is what dropped. And so our focus is to say 100% participation, just to increase that. So here you will see the total rebates. So normally what goes back to the parish. So after a parish meets their goal, everything that is over the parish goal will be returned back to the parish as a rebate. And one of the items that we encourage is to share with parishioners what that rebate is being used for. And because there's a lot of parishes that are not necessarily sharing that information, and they don't see that they could benefit the diocese and they could benefit their local parish. So you could see that also dropped. Compared to 2013 is still higher, but again, that's what's going back to the parishes. Any questions on the rebate? Okay. So this is the actual income to the diocese. As you know, our goal is 1.5 million. That's what our goal is. But because of the parish rebates, what the diocese actually gets, it's minus the rebates, because we don't keep that. So that's why we call the actual income to the diocese. So as you could see, our goal is 1.5, and we're about, I believe, 47,000 shortfall, which we'll see in a slide show here shortly. Last year it was 1.4, which that's what our goal was. And again, this is for August, because if you see our October, we met our goal. We actually surpassed it. We met it, but this was as of August. So again, this is what I was talking about, the shortfall to the diocese. So that's the gap. As of August of last year, we were 35, and this year we're 47,000. That's the gap. That's how much more we need to reach our diocesan goal. I think I skipped this one here. Okay, I think I missed it. So this was the parish participation. So as you could see, from 2013 to 2014, we increased the participation, 538 new families or donors. And this year, it dropped 788. So it's a big difference. From 2014 to 2015, there was, I know last year, one of our parishes that I believe that we named like most improved was Holy Redeemer, where they had increased their donors 200 and plus. We didn't necessarily have that this year. We didn't have a parish that had that much. I think this year the parish that had the most would be Mattawa with 45 families. So we didn't have parishes with an increase like we did last year. So we're seeing that drop. So it could be a possibility that in 2014 the NPU was done a little bit different. I know there was changes that occur in the diocese, moves and so forth. But I just wanted to share that information with you, that our focus is on participation. Is there anything that you wanted to add, Bishop? Because we've been sharing this information with Bishop and the priests in regards to what the difference is from one year to another.
Well, I think that affects donations. I mean, I think we had a very good question, I think, around when you start, it's good you're looking at your local data. Has there been a change in status? There's a lot of things, but in general, with a drop in the number of participants, that, again, we don't know what all that is about. We have been, I don't know if you've got numbers on that, we've been picking up more donors on the Spanish side. And we also know that there's a certain number of people in our parishes who are major donors who die, and that's just the reality of what's going on. And it takes a long time to ramp somebody up that's been giving regularly. I think that might be what your question is getting at. And if they've had a change of health, if they have a change of financial status, when you get really advanced, sometimes your capacity to give changes. So that's kind of the pickup that we saw in 2013, I believe, was mainly, Alma had given us some data on that. The pickup of the 538 was mainly on the Spanish side. And that's where we've had a lot of growth. But those average gifts have not been, as large, right? And you're dealing with folks that that have larger families. I know I see Father Armio here. I remember when we did a dinner there, the largest donor in East Wenatchee is a Hispanic family with children. It's not on the Anglophone side, and I remember him saying that at a dinner of major donors. I'm not sure if I've got that information completely accurate, Father, but I think you had highlighted a wonderful way in which the Spanish side has really given a lot. And I don't know if you want to speak to this, Father, but I think another piece that you're very good about doing is just getting people to fill out the pledge card bumps up the participation in donors, even if they aren't able to fulfill the pledge the entire year.
My experience, last Wednesday, I went to Orondo, have a lady who died. And I saw, she has a letter, thanks letter they received in Asia, and then people pay $300. They are poor, they live in the orchards. This lady, I think she has too much to live. I see how generous these people live $300, they are poor. For my experience, and mostly Hispanic give more than half millionaires in culture, but they don't give half poor people what they give. Especially the Hispanic, to teach them how to give. I think that the participation dropped in my church. That was 700 and something, I lost 120. Maybe it was Father Mauricio, who came to Wenatchee and they brought the people. I was thinking in Father Mauricio. Maybe when I made this collection, I made those collections in 2 weeks. Before last year, I was 2 weeks because I have a mental problem. I have 2 weeks. Most of the time, I have 3 weeks. Now only 2 for the Hispanic, 3. Because every week you see different people. I ask them, who made the pledges last week? Raise your hands. And I ask the people to raise their hands. And I see not too many. I say, okay, let's go again. Let's do this. And I make another 50 or 60 and all masses. That's the reason they dropped 120 in my church because I didn't make the last first week. My suggestion for all of you, do it. Now only 2 weeks, 3. Because many, you don't see people, it's not month, I don't know what happens, and they don't come to church in 1 week, they don't come in just in the 3rd week. You get people who haven't been in the last 2 weeks. There's another idea what I give to you. Not only 2, but 3. But apologize first, make a good environment, have everybody ready with the pencils, with the envelopes in the back, the hospitality committee, ask them before they and they help you pass the envelopes. Even mostly Hispanic, they don't know how to read. Many. Get people who know them, even go, you as a leader, go and tell the people to fill the pledges. That's another idea. Now only 2 weeks, but 3. And we don't get those. We are losing many people. 700 is a lot.
Thank you for adding that, because there might be some particular ways in your parish that you want to do this. I know Alma worked with Granger, and they had a system, partly because some of the people in Granger are not highly into writing and whatnot. So when they would come in, they had like a hotel, they'd check in and kind of do their paperwork at the back door, and that's how Granger kind of shot up on the annual Catholic Appeal.
Was that before marriage?
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I guess the other piece is, when I was pastor, we had a very hard time making our annual Catholic Appeal goal in Seattle. I had a highly Filipino parish, and I saw how many people were sending balikbayan boxes to their loved ones in the Philippines. It'd be in the front door, and it's $50 door to door. So I got a balikbayan box and kind of told people we're going to send a balikbayan to the Archbishop. And everybody get up, and you can put your card in, and we put in the balikbayan box. It was kind of humorous, but they got it. They got that this was about a gift to the church. And they transferred that from their natural giving pattern, which is taking care of their loved ones. Because kind of like Mexico, Philippines, the largest source of revenue. The largest source of revenue in the Philippines is our remesas from the United States. So they transferred that, shall we say, cultural pattern of giving into the annual Catholic Appeal. I mean, just think about, especially on the Spanish side, my goodness, we see all over Sigre, the little places where people are sending money to their villages in Mexico. So there's a pattern that's very strong of giving. It's just you're trying to find a way to climb into that stream, and say we need you here, we need you helping us build the church here, because you're missionaries here. So there's a variety of ways that you want to think about, which is why I appreciate your question, because in a certain way you're talking about what's the local circumstance of either giving or not giving, what's going on. I'd say the last thing on this, and this is just not with ACA, but as pastor, I had my bookkeeper kind of trained to tag folks when we weren't seeing an envelope. And I did not pick up the phone and say, hey, where's your envelope? No. But honestly, especially if you're in a bigger parish, I had 3,000 immigrant families, literally, across 9 masses. And I mean, it was just a zoo on a weekend. So the only way I knew if somebody was persistently gone was the envelope movement. So you want to treat that not as, hey, how come you didn't give, but hey, I'm calling to see, are you doing okay? How are things going? And then you find out who's sick or what's going on. Getting back to, I think you're very fine point of what's going on in our people's lives. Because many times your envelope is the only attendance sheet you really have. Especially if you've got more than one priest, or if you've got folks rotating in sometimes. You don't necessarily know who's there and who's not.
One of the things is that in our parish community, the packing of cherries went from 7 weeks to 5.
Yeah. Well, we lost 10% of our. I mean, I kind of know that my mom's oldest cousin's the cherry farm in Brazil. We lost 10% of the cherry crop in Washington State, just partly because of the computer meltdown. Because we have a lot of guest workers on H-1Bs, and the computer melted down, and those workers did not get released to come up here. So those of us who are dealing with cherries, we were really negatively impacted, both in terms of workers and in terms of packers and growers. And I mean, this is where, they want to talk about, the government does not have a strong capacity to handle paperwork, obviously, but that had terrible impact. So we have a lot of, I'm glad you raised that with cherries. We had a lot of people take losses this year on cherries. Not just because of the early, the fruit kind of matured inside out this year with a little bit of a different crop, but it was also the whole snafu with the government H-1B, which really was not very well reported in the media, but it affected a lot of cherry farmers. Yeah. And so these are all factors, and we want to be compassionate and understand, we're going to see that loss when we're doing the annual Catholic deal. When you lose a big chunk of your crop. So, but we're walking the journey with them, aren't we? So it's ultimately all good.
Well, the point that Father said, or Monsignor said, with St. Paul's being the older community, or
the more seasoned community.
Yeah, but anyway, you may lose a donor though that has been donating very generously for years, and then all of a sudden you're replacing it with somebody's going to participate,
exactly.
But at a much lower level.
That's right.
So
that's exactly what you're saying. Just say it a different way. When you lose a donor, a senior donor to death, they've had many years in which they've ramped up their gift. And even if you're replacing them with a newer donor, whether they're Anglo or Hispanic, they're usually younger, they might have families, it takes a while to ramp up that donor. So that's where, even if you've got increased participation, you could have, and especially, remember the average age of a Catholic on the Spanish side is 23 years old. We're a very young diocese. We forget that on the English side because when you go to Mass in English, it's like, whoa, side, but in Spanish, it's really young. And so those are the parts we're trying to talk about. How do we help them put Christ first in their life, make a gift that changes their way of life, and helps them figure out how to put Christ first with a lot of competing expenses. So it's more complicated.